Hey, welcome. Today let's build a resonator or J-pipe or Helmholtz Resonator to eliminate annoying exhaust noise such as drone, rap, or tinny exhaust sounds. Today I'm going to be leaning on my AI garage crew, ChatGPT and Claude, to understand exhaust frequencies and how a resonator eliminates them. So we've all seen examples of people blowing into a bottle making noise, but really what does that mean on a race car exhaust? Why is blowing into a bottle important? So I created a visualization in Claude, and I'll share the prompt, but it shows how two similar frequencies, or the exact two frequencies, cancel each other out via destructive interference. So and we got in the blue here, the blue wave is the original exhaust sound, and then what we've got on the red wave is the resonator wave. And it's 180 degrees out of phase. That's important. Well, let's come down here. So this is the rubber, where the rubber meets the road. This is why resonators placed on an exhaust, because the resonator, when air blows by it, it reproduces a sound or a hertz or frequency that is matched to the frequency that sucks, right? So if it's tinny or noisy, or you've got that drone in your cabin of your vehicle, what the resonator does is it matches that frequency and then replicates that frequency and broadcasts it, so the two waves crash into each other and nullify the drone. So I'm gonna zoom out a little bit because I think that's gonna be better than being zoomed in on it. So again, we've got the original wave, the resonator wave, and then the cancellation in here. So let's move on. Okay, so now we know the theory behind the Helmholtz resonator, but how do we know the frequencies that are annoying? So what I did was I went ahead and asked that question to ChatGPT, and I said, what is the target frequency for different types of sounds that are not nice to hear? So ChatGPT came up with tinny and raspy is 2750 hertz, a droning hum is 1800 hertz, a barking buzz at 4200 hertz. I also asked ChatGPT to explain it like I was a 14-year-old, so that's why it's easy to kind of flowery words and easy to understand, but I do that all the time. I'm a 14-year-old to both Claude and ChatGPT, so whatever. So this gives me a target frequency. The other side of the coin is when I ask Claude the same thing, he comes up with a different frequency. So you'll have to do some research maybe on YouTube, or get your own app on your phone and measure or record your exhaust note so you know the actual frequency that you want to eliminate, so you can build your Helmholtz resonator to counteract that. So these are the ChatGPT numbers, and here's Claude's numbers. So I had requested Claude to put together a small application or calculator to help us build the Helmholtz resonator depending on the frequency. So again, I'll share this prompt in my description. So it looks like we've got a couple options here. 125 hertz, which is the didgeridoo drone. I don't know what that is. The rattlesnake rasp, and then the bee swarm buzz. So we got 250 hertz and 400 hertz. So we'll go to the calculator here that Claude created for us, and so we can enter in the frequency. Let's just change it. Let's take care of the rattlesnake rasp at 250 hertz. So 250 hertz is the frequency that I want to eliminate. And so what's my exhaust pipe diameter? So I'll probably run a 3-inch exhaust. The temperature, so whatever. Hit the little calculate button here, and it'll give us an idea of the chamber volume that's required, and the neck length, and the neck diameter. So the Helmholtz resonators they're designed to look like they have a small neck and then a big expansion chamber. Let me bring up an image right here. Okay, here's a good image of a Helmholtz resonator. You can see the exhaust right here, the straight through flow, and then the resonator should tee off at a 90 degrees, have a section of pipe, and then an expansion chamber. So we'll go back to calculator, and this will talk about the neck diameter of the initial pipe section and then the chamber volume. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. Claude also gives us materials and construction that's based on easy to find or a DIY person would have in their garage, such as exhaust pipe up to 4-inch. So this one would need a 4-inch exhaust steel tube that is 2.2 inches long. So a piece of 4-inch pipe, 2.2 inches long. You need your end caps, a hole saw, and then of course your welding stuff. But the neck tube as well, 1-inch steel tube, 2.4 inches long, and then a 1-inch to 3-inch adapter that some have to be fab. But the bottom line is Claude is giving you a materials list. Now, is it perfect? You know, a lot of artificial intelligence stuff is almost 100% correct, almost, but not all the time. So should double check all this stuff. Installation diagram, here's the resonator and here's the exhaust pipe. It does show a 90-degree tee off of the main exhaust, and it shows the expansion chamber of the resonator. So yeah, pretty good little application here from Claude. Claude's build, even if it isn't 100% perfect, it's sure taking my knowledge of what a resonator is and how to build it a lot further. So yeah, let's take a little, let's look at some more stuff here. So what I like to do is use both Claude and ChatGPT, and I ask them the same questions back and forth to try to get as close as truth as I can. So what I do is, now that I've had this calculation here in Claude, I would go back to ChatGPT, and here's the step-by-step Helmholtz resonator design in ChatGPT. And this is the function that you'd need to calculate the formula for the frequency. So I would take this information and then plug in the Claude data that Claude provided on what size of pipe and what chamber volume, and then just compare the two. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so I fired up ChatGPT, and this is the prompt. Hey ChatGPT, I want to build a Helmholtz resonator for an automotive exhaust system, and I have specific materials I want to use, and I've selected a frequency I want to eliminate. Can you run the Helmholtz calculations with this info and verify I have the materials and setup correct? Hertz to eliminate is 250 hertz. Running a 3-inch exhaust pipe for the entire exhaust, and want to eliminate 250 hertz frequency. Using a 4-inch pipe, 2.2 inches long. The neck will be made out of 1-inch steel and a tube that is 2.4 inches long. Those are all the build specs that came from Claude. So just verifying the information. Go ahead and send it. Okay, let's see what we got. So took our inputs. Grab this over here. Here's the function, step-by-step calculation, which is awesome. So you can verify it if you want to do the maths. Don't think I want to. How to tune to 250 hertz. So it looks like our current setup hits 202 hertz, targeting 250, shorten the neck, yada, yada, yada. So looks like ChatGPT's got a different specs. Yeah, shorten the neck, 1.4 to 1.5 inch. So what I would do here is go back and forth with Claude and ChatGPT and say, can you, well, let's just do that. Let's just bring up Claude here real quick. So let's put in 200 hertz, because that's what ChatGPT said our current specifications, that with our current specifications, that's the frequency that we would tune out. So let's take a look. We'll calculate this here, and show that it looks like the neck length doesn't change, but the chamber volume does. So let's go back to ChatGPT and say it appears you're changing the neck length. Why would you tune the neck versus the chamber size? Lots of good reasons. Fabrication, practicability, easy cut. So ChatGPT is taking the fabrication project or the fabrication manufacturing process into consideration on which one to tune. Instead of tuning the chamber, the neck length would be easier to modify. So where does this end up after this little exercise? I'd average the two and then tune it, because honestly, you're not really going to know what it sounds like until you build something, put it on your vehicle, and tune it out and test it. So I would build something with a 250 hertz and then modify the neck length until I got the desired noise canceling that I desired. But anyway, it's a heck of a good start. All right, so let's kind of wrap this up. The purpose of the video is to show how you can have Claude and ChatGPT work in your garage for you and get you pointed in the right direction using complex functions that normally, I wouldn't like search out and try to solve for. And it gives you a really good direction, especially for the DIYer, to get to a result. So how did I get here? How did I get a application built and a visualization built in Claude, and then how did I get it listed on its own web page? So let's go ahead and do that. I'll run through that real quick. First, what we'll do is let's create the visualization for the destructive wave frequency. And so I have a prompt here, and it is a massive prompt, right? It is wild. It goes into creating your own destructive wave visualization, first section, second section, yada, yada, yada. This will make it happen. But how do you get there, right? Where do you start? So this is how I would start. All right, so here we go. Sup, Claude? I need your help building a visualization that shows destructive wave interference visualization. Oop, I put it twice, who cares? I don't have any coding experience and I really don't know what I'm doing, but I want the application to be visually appealing. Ask me questions about the project and make suggestions on how to make this artifact killer. Explain topics as if I'm a 12-year-old, using fun examples like jelly beans, candy canes, and birthday cakes. All right, a couple things that are important here, and they're specifically placed into this prompt. Need your help, right? Don't ask questions. Turn Claude into like an associate or a teammate, right? Outline in the first sentence what you want. You want to create a visualization that shows destructive wave interference visualization. I gotta get rid of that, it's in there twice. So, get to the point, first sentence, right? I don't have any coding experience, I really don't know what I'm doing. Lets Claude know that he's not gonna be able to talk to you as an engineer, which will change the dialogue that you get back. I want the application to be visually appealing. That's an important piece, visually appealing. There's multiple different ways to make an application or artifact, and the visually appealing is an important piece. Ask me questions about the project. Gosh, always. And make suggestions on how to make this artifact killer. So many great suggestions Claude has produced, and that I've created artifacts that are awesome because of the suggestions. Ask for them. Pull them out of Claude's library of knowledge. Explain the topics as if I'm a 12-year-old. That's just do it. And then using fun examples like jelly beans, candy canes, and birthday cakes. I've had a lot of fun doing that. So anyway, yeah, that's how you start. And then once we fire this off, and here we go. So what's your goal? What sounds fun? The interactive features like dragging sliders to control the wave speed, visual style, neon colors on a dark background. So you never really know what Claude can build or do until you start asking questions and asking Claude to ask you questions and then making suggestions to you. So do that. And listen to this example. It's awesome. With waves, it's like having two birthday cake decorations with frosting bags. One squeezes frosting up while the other squeezes down at the same spot. Instead of getting double frosting, they cancel out and you get no frosting. The waves literally destroy each other. Yeah, that works in my brain, no problem. All right. Okay, and so here's the calculator, how to build the calculator in Claude prompt. You can tell it's a monster. But again, this came through multiple iterations or questions that Claude had asked me, and then once I ran it, we started figuring out that I had to define pipe diameter options. So materials lists were easier, just little things like that. Also, sometimes Claude would recommend cutting the expander tube or the chamber to a length of, it was a 4-inch tube and the length was 0.2 long, right? And it just wasn't feasible to fabricate in a shop setting. So you had to put requirements of a minimum size of at least an inch. So you'd have a 4-inch tube, 1-inch long, so you get at least weld end caps on it. So anyways, all of those parameters are, you would define those as you're moving through and Claude's asking you questions. And then you test it. So both of these prompts will be in the description section of the video. I encourage you to fire them up and use them. And then once you do, you'll have an option inside the chat window it'll probably already pop up and it'll split screen like this and it'll give you an idea of what everything looks like. This is an older version. So you'll test it in here. But then this publish, this allows you, once you click that, it will give you a web URL or a web address and allow you to access this and other people to access it online, which gives you the full the full experience here. So yeah, anyway, this is good stuff. Go check it out. Whatever you think that artificial intelligence can't do, give it a shot. Ask Claude, ask ChatGPT if they can create or build something for you, and you'll be surprised at the things you can get together. So anyway, thanks for viewing. Oh, yeah. Thanks for subscribing. You guys are great. Thank you. See ya.